Hi, everybody. Jake Slobodnik for your hometown radio stations and Renda Digital TV. Once again, coming to you from the Heritage Conference Basketball Media Day. We talked to the girls' conference championship coach last year with Nick Moore from Homer Center. Now we're talking to the boys' championship head coach in Matt Rodkey in his third year at United. He's coming off, as we said, Heritage Conference boys basketball championship last year. Coach, last year Lions were 21-7 overall, 12-1 in the Heritage Conference, with their only loss, ironically, coming against the guys that you faced in the championship game. That's West Shamokin. So let's start there. It was a wild season for your squad last year, but a very positive one, to say the least.
It was, and, thank you to Greg Cephas and to First Commonwealth for putting this stage on for the whole conference. It's, as they talked about in our meeting there, it's a blessing for our kids to have the opportunity to play here. I don't know that everybody in our county realizes how nice of a facility this is. And Coach Lombardi had said it too, like we get more people at the conference game than they get at the IUP men's and women's game sometimes, and I can vouch for that because I actually do the book for those games. So, but it's quite the experience for our kids, and we appreciate that a lot.
Well, let's start there. The community support, I think, is a big thing. It's what helps fill this KCAC and helps show the support not just for United but for all the area high schools. It's got to feel good to know that all the communities in Indiana County buy into the high school athletics scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And you would notice that at the game last year, you had kids from all different school districts sitting together cheering for whichever team they decided to cheer for that game. But, you had kids from United sitting with kids from River Valley or wherever, and just kind of having a good time and being excited about something awesome that happened in our county here in our community. So it's a very nice thing.
Let's go back to the championship road a little bit, beating West Shamokin here at the KCAC for that. What were some of the things that really played into that championship winning season for you guys?
Well, we were obviously motivated by the previous season because we had lost to them in the championship game there. Coach McCullough is a great coach. He has our number. Like, we played them, I believe, 7 times in the last 2 seasons. And so last year we split with them. We beat them twice. They beat us twice. It just happened for us and for our good fortune that it was here, one of our 2 games. But they were very well coached, as they always are. They had a great player in Trevor Simolik, and we just had to, give our best defensive effort and, hope the ball went in the hole a little bit here and there, and it did for us. So again, it was a great experience for our kids. We have a couple of them back this year, and it's something that they'll talk about for their whole lives, and of course I will as well.
Let's talk about the team a little bit. You lost a little bit of depth after last season, some of those being John Henry and Ben Tom, 2 of the leaders on the team. They're hard to replace. How do you size up the roster for the upcoming year, and who are some of those guys that have helped stepped in to fill their shoes in their absence?
Yeah, Ben and John were 2 of our bigs. They're both about like 6'2", 6'4", good players, good leaders, just good kids. Johnny Machesko was our point guard. He was one of our best players, and Jake Boring as well. So we lose those 4 main starters. We do have Brad Felix back. He's a very good defensive player for us. One of those kids that will, if you tell him to run through the wall, he will. He wants to get better. He wants to be good at his craft, and he does everything he can to be the best that he can. Joe Marino is a kid that did start about 6 or 7 games last year when John Henry broke his elbow in a game at Marion Center. Tyler Robertson started a game or 2 when we had another injury. We have Dylan DeShong, who's one of our point guards, who actually got a whole lot of time in the championship game last year here. And so we add one of our players who played mainly JV last year, Isaac Worthington. He has matured physically a lot. Like, he's probably 2 inches taller than he was this year as a junior. And we also have a couple of freshmen that we pulled up. Carter Payne is one of them, and Connor Dar is another one. And they should see some significant time for us as well.
Going back to Isaac real quick, we saw a little bit of a glimpse of how athletic that kid is in the football season, and you got to think it's got to transcend well into the basketball season too.
I would say that it will. First of all, Isaac's a tough-nosed kid. He's a strong kid, puts the work in the weight room, and yes, he's a gifted athlete. And around our area, we don't see kids that dunk the ball too much. Isaac can do that a little bit at times, so, it'd be something cool to see in a game. I'm fortunate for me, I get to see it often at the IUP games, but, sometimes in the Heritage Conference you don't see it as much. So, that's something that he would love to do in a game.
Moving on to moving on in our conversation a little bit, you guys went far in the state championship, but fell short to Our Lady of the Sacred Heart on March 9th. But I think it really speaks to the commitment level, not just on the court, but really to all the players off the court. Since United is one of the smaller schools, getting that far in the state playoffs, that's got to say something about how they really buy into the program.
Yeah, we're very proud of our team last year and of how our program has moved forward here a little bit. Coach Rodriguez down at Olsh, he's a great coach. He actually coached at Wimber in the 90s, and it was neat because he actually remembered one of our former players, Leroy Anderson, from back then. So that was a really cool experience. They've won something like 80 games in a row now at Olsh. We would have loved to ran into them a little farther down the road than having to play them at Olsh in the first round of the playoffs. But we were proud of our kids. We battled them. We actually were in a 6-point game at the end of the third quarter with them. It ended up they pulled away and won by over 20. But we felt good because they won the state championship game by almost 30. So we felt like it was a good effort. We did our best, and I'm really proud of our kids. That was the, I believe, second team that played in a state playoff game in United school history. The previous year we would have qualified had there been a regular tournament instead of just a district champions tournament.
Well, Coach, let's talk about this season. You got the Heritage Conference as a repeat champion. You want to be a repeat champion, I should say. You got that in your sights. You want to get back to that state playoff dance. What needs to happen for the Lions to get back into the state and Heritage Conference playoffs?
Well, we need to continue working hard in practices. We need to focus on our defensive efforts. We have to mix in some of our newer guys with some of our veteran guys. But all of those things, could happen. And obviously we need to have good health. But there are some great teams in our conference. Obviously Portage is a 2-time defending district champion, and they're now in our conference, very well coached. We played them the last 2 years, and they got our number twice. West Shamokin's always good. Penns Manor has a very good nucleus coming back. They're well coached too. Cambria Heights is always good. They're newer in our conference. Township and Conemaugh Valley are coming in. So our conference keeps getting better and better. And like Mr. Stokes said, there are no nights off. And, I believe that will be good for all of us. That'll be really beneficial for our guys because, they're going to have to earn everything. And, we did win the conference last year. So we know that there's a little bit of a target on our back. But also, when you got teams like Portage that have had that much success, that's a program that we aspire to be like. So we have to just keep working.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck this season. Thanks for taking some time to talk to us, and we'll see you when the hardwood action starts here in just a couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you a lot. Go Blue.
Coach Matt Rodkey, the United Lions, on our Heritage Conference Basketball Media Day from the KCAC. We'll be back with more content here on our Renda Media Facebook pages and Renda Digital TV. I'm Jake Slobodnik with Matt Rodkey for your hometown stations.